Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen, where we show you how to make easy, authentic Puerto Rican recipes. Today, we're going to be making garbanzo guisado. Now this is a favorite recipe of mine because when I was growing up, there was this older boy who would sometimes babysit for us, and he would always eat garbanzos just straight out of the can, and he said it made him big and strong. I believed him, and so I've always been a huge fan of garbanzos. So we're going to be doing that today, and in addition, I'm going to show you guys how to make garbanzos from dried beans. Now if you haven't done this before, I'd really encourage it. First, it's way cheaper. You can get a pound of garbanzos for like $1, whereas if you get the canned ones, you're probably spending 5 or 6 to get the same amounts. And second, it's super easy, especially if you let it soak overnight. So let's do it. You guys are going to love it. Let's get cooking. So here are the ingredients for today's recipe. First, we got our garbanzos. Again, we're going to be using dried garbanzo. And so to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to put them in some water and salt. We're going to soak them overnight so that it rehydrates. I think it's really important here to add the salt in. Some people, and I used to rehydrate them just kind of with water. But then I read an article, I'll post a link below, and it made sense. What they were saying is that when you add the salt into the water and then kind of rehydrate the beans, it's almost like as if you're kind of brining the garbanzos. And so I find that they end up being a lot more moist on the inside, and they also have the right amount of salt on the inside. Otherwise, if it's just water, the salt doesn't penetrate deep into the beans. So again, it's real key to soak them overnight before you do them, so you just have to start in advance because otherwise it takes a super long time to cook. But here, literally, we're going to pressure cook them for 5 minutes. That's it. So super important to soak them overnight. Let's do that. So salt, garbanzos, water. Then once we've done that and we have those all cooked up, we're going to basically guisar them, right? So that's why they're garbanzo guisado. And we're going to be using some vegetable oil. We're going to put in some turkey ham. This is turkey ham, but you can use regular ham if you want, or some type of plant-based product if you prefer. We're going to have some sofrito. This is sofrito from Joe Mari's grandpa. It's real great. If you don't have your own sofrito, check the link up here. You can see how we did it. We did a video where we actually went down to El Plaza del Mercado in Mayagüez. Check it out. Then we have some potatoes. This is just one medium russet potato. I've diced it down. I've diced it down to about a 1/4 inch cubed. Differently than the turkey ham, which is about a 1/2 inch cubed. I like to keep the turkey ham a little bit bigger so it kind of keeps its component and makes it more of a main component along with the garbanzos. And then the potatoes and the squash are cut a little bit thinner. They kind of melt into the sauce and really thicken it up without being so in your face. Then we got some olives. I've just sliced these. They're just green olives with pimento. Then I've got a little achiote oil. Again, I'm using this for the color primarily because I don't want to use sazon. But if you use sazon, you can substitute the sazon for the adobo and the achiote oil. I've got some tomato sauce. I've got some adobo. Then I've got, just to kind of at the end, a little bit of extra flavor, I've got some fresh oregano. We planted some oregano. And I finally gotten to harvest it, so I'm excited about that. And then my neighbor gave us some just gorgeous ajies dulce. These are just red ajies dulce. We're gonna chop them up really finely and add them kind of halfway through the cooking, and they'll just kind of become part of the sauce. Great, delicious flavor. So that's it. So let's get cooking.
When cooking dry garbanzos, the first thing you want to do is soak them in order to begin softening them up. I usually soak the garbanzos overnight, so just keep that in mind when planning your meal. To soak your garbanzos, just combine 1 pound of garbanzos with 6 cups of water and 1 tablespoon of salt. Then cover your garbanzos and leave them undisturbed for 8 to 10 hours. Once soaked, we're going to cook our garbanzos in a pressure cooker. Now each pressure cooker is a little different, but the basic components are the same. First, they have a lid that seals on the top of the pot. Second, they have a pressure valve that you use to adjust the pot's pressure. Generally, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. However, as you increase the pressure in the pot, the water can actually get hotter than 212 boiling point, which is why you are able to cook things faster in a pressure cooker. Once you've got your pressure cooker set up, add the soaked garbanzos, then seal the lid and adjust the pressure valve so it's at its highest pressure level. Now turn your stove on high and bring your pot to a boil. You'll know it's boiling and at full pressure when you start to hear a steady stream of steam escaping from your pressure valve. Once you hear the steam coming out, reduce the heat to medium and cook your garbanzos for 5 minutes. At the end of the 5 minutes, turn off the stove and move your pressure cooker off of the heat. Leave your pressure valve turned to full pressure and let your pressure cooker gradually cool down and release the pressure that has built up inside. After 20 minutes or so, your pot should be depressurized. At that point, open the pressure valve and confirm that no steam is coming out. Then take off the top of your pressure cooker and drain your garbanzos. After draining them, rinse them with cold water. This does 2 things. First, it prevents the residual heat from overcooking the beans as they rest. Second, it washes off some of the salt from the soak as well as some of the proteins that came out of the beans while they were boiling. With your garbanzos cooked, let's turn to preparing the rest of the dish. Heat up a large pot and then, once hot, add your vegetable oil and sauté your sofrito, stirring constantly. Once your sofrito has reduced, add your turkey ham and brown it, mixing frequently. Once your turkey ham is browned, add your potatoes and squash and continue sautéing. Sauté them for 2 to 3 minutes or until they start to soften slightly. Once your potatoes and squash start to soften, add your tomato sauce, your olives, your achiote oil, and your adobo. Stir to combine and allow this all to sauté together for 1 to 2 minutes, letting the flavors combine. Now add your cooked garbanzos and combine thoroughly. Once everything is combined, add 6 cups of water and turn the heat up to high to bring the water to a boil. While you are waiting for the water to boil, prepare your aromatics. Here, I'm dicing some red ajies dulces and some fresh oregano. Once your garbanzos come to a boil, turn down the heat to medium, add all of your aromatics, and then let it simmer for 20 to 30 minutes or until the sauce reaches its desired thickness. During this cooking period, make sure to stir it from time to time to make sure it doesn't burn. Once your garbanzos are the consistency you want, check it for salt and adjust as necessary. Now spoon your garbanzos over some white rice and enjoy.
There you have it, garbanzo guisado. So you put these on top of a little white rice and man, you got that perfect meal. Real tasty, a lot of deep flavors because of how long you've been boiling it. The boiling also really helps thicken up the sauce. So you notice that kind of like when you start, it's very watery and thin, but then as you boil it, it kind of really gets thick. And that's because the potatoes are kind of breaking down, they're getting pureed, and you can feel it and see it. Also the squash just breaking down and thickening up this sauce just really helps coat everything, brings the dish together in your mouth. Also the turkey ham really kind of spreads that yummy kind of smoky flavor throughout. Really imbues it with a lot of great flavor. Great dish, great with tostones, great with mofongo. Anything you guys want to serve with, great by itself. I mean, I'm gonna eat all this as soon as I'm done filming. But yeah, so we guys hope you liked the video. Hope you liked the recipe. If you give the recipe a try, let us know how it went. We'd love to hear from you guys. Love to hear kind of what went well, what we can do better. Just put in the comments below. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends about it so they can come see too. And then come get it next week, and we'll see you for another episode of Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen.